She was 40 and invisible. He was 31 and everyone's future. Their marriage was supposed to last 6 months, just long enough for him to claim his inheritance and for her to save her life. But somewhere between May and October, between business and belonging, the CEO 9 years, her junior stopped pretending and started loving her for real. Welcome back, my wonderful family and friends. If you're tuned in and ready to dive into today's story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from. Tomorrow, I'll be bringing you another exciting story you definitely don't want to miss. So, let's get started. The eviction notice was pink. Maria stood in her apartment studio, technically, though calling it that felt generous, and stared at the paper taped to her door. Final notice. Pay $4,200 by May 15th or vacate premises. May 15th was in 3 days. She had $340 in her bank account. 40 years old, divorced, unemployed for 8 months after her company restructured, translation, replaced her with someone 25 and cheaper, and now about to be homeless. She'd sent 73 job applications in 3 months, gotten 4 interviews, 0 offers. Too experienced, one recruiter had said kindly, which meant too old. Maria walked to her bathroom mirror and studied her reflection. Lines around her eyes, gray threading through dark hair she couldn't afford to color anymore. A face that had once been called beautiful but now just looked tired. Ordinary. 40. When had she become invisible? Her phone buzzed. Her sister, probably, calling to offer advice Maria couldn't afford to follow. Or her ex-husband, reminding her the alimony he'd fought so hard to avoid paying meant she was on her own now. She ignored it. Instead, she opened her laptop and scrolled through job postings she was too experienced for. Apartments she couldn't afford. A future that looked increasingly like moving back to Ohio, back to her parents' basement, back to being the daughter who'd failed at everything. The phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Maria almost didn't answer. But desperation made you do strange things. Hello, Ms. Maria Chan? A woman's voice. Professional. Clipped. Yes. My name is Patricia Morris. I'm calling on behalf of my client, Mr. Gregory Castellano. He has a business proposition that may interest you. Are you available to meet tomorrow at 2 p.m.? Maria's mind raced. Gregory Castellano, the tech CEO. 31 years old and worth hundreds of millions. She'd seen his face on magazine covers at the grocery store, young, handsome, the kind of success story that made ordinary people feel inadequate. I think you have the wrong person, Maria said. You're Maria Chen? Age 40? Former marketing director at Morrison & Associates. Yes, but then I have the right person. Mr. Castellano will explain everything tomorrow. The Castellano Foundation offices. 2 p.m. I'll send you the address. The line went dead. Maria stood holding her phone, heart pounding, mind spinning with impossible questions. Why would a billionaire CEO want to meet with her? Across the city, Gregory Castellano sat in his corner office and hated his life. Not the company. Castellano Technologies was thriving, AI development, clean energy patents, government contracts worth billions. At 31, he'd built something his grandfather would be proud of. If his grandfather were still alive to see it. You have to be married by your 32nd birthday. His grandfather's lawyer had been apologetic but firm. Those are the terms of the foundation trust. If you're unmarried on September 1st, the entire $300 million gets dissolved and distributed to the board's chosen charities. That's insane. That's your grandfather. He believed family legacy required actual family. Gregory had spent 6 months trying to break the clause. Impossible. His grandfather had been thorough. So now he needed a wife. By September 1st. For months away. He'd tried dating. God, he'd tried. 25-year-old influencers who photographed their salads. 28-year-old lawyers who treated dinner like a deposition. 30-year-old entrepreneurs who spent the entire evening pitching their startups. None of them saw him. They saw his net worth, his potential, his usefulness. He was so tired of being useful. The woman you asked me to research, Patricia said, entering with a file. Maria Chen, 40 years old, divorced 3 years. No children. Former marketing director, excellent reputation until her company downsized. Currently unemployed. Facing eviction. She paused. Why her? Because she needs something real, Gregory said. Not another networking opportunity. Not a story for her social media. Real help. Which means she might actually honor a contract. You're going to offer her money to marry you. I'm going to offer her survival in exchange for 6 months of her time. It's honest. Transactional. No pretense of love or... He stopped. It's the only way this works. Patricia set the file on his desk. And after 6 months? After 6 months, we divorce. She gets enough money to start over. I get the foundation. Everyone wins. Unless you catch feelings. Gregory laughed. I'm marrying a woman 9 years older than me who I've never met. There's no risk of feelings. This is business. But even as he said it, something whispered that he was wrong. That some contracts become something more. That sometimes the people we choose for convenience become the ones we can't imagine living without. He ignored the whisper. Tomorrow he'd make his offer. She'd accept. Desperation guaranteed that. 6 months of marriage. No feelings. No complications. Simple. A desperate woman. An impossible offer. Tomorrow they meet, and both their lives will change forever. But neither of them knows that what starts as business will become the most real thing either has ever experienced. Have you ever taken a risk that seemed crazy but changed everything? Sometimes desperation leads us exactly where we need to be. Share your story in the comments. The Castellano Foundation offices occupied the top 3 floors of a building Maria couldn't have afforded to park near. She'd worn her interview suit. 5 years old, slightly tight now, but clean and professional. Had done her makeup carefully, covered the gray with a scarf she told herself looked intentional. At the lobby, security made her show ID 3 times. Because 40-year-old women in old suits looked like they belonged here. Patricia met her at the elevator. Ms. Chen, thank you for coming. Mr. Castellano is waiting. They walked through halls lined with modern art Maria didn't understand and couldn't afford. Through glass doors into an office that was more windows than walls. The city sprawling below like Gregory Castellano owned it. Which he basically did. He stood when she entered. Tall. Younger than his photo suggested, or maybe just younger than her, which made everything about this feel wrong. Dark hair. Sharp suit. Eyes that assessed her with an intensity that made her want to hide. Ms. Chen. Thank you for meeting me. He gestured to a chair. Please sit. Would you like coffee? Water? I'm fine. She sat, spine straight, trying to project confidence she didn't feel. Your assistant said you have a business proposition. I do. He sat across from her, and she noticed he didn't go behind his desk. Kept them level. It's unusual, and you're welcome to say no. But I hope you'll hear me out. Maria nodded, throat tight. I need to be married by September 1st, Gregory said simply. Family trust issue. Long story. If I'm unmarried on my 32nd birthday, I lose access to a $300 million foundation my grandfather built. He leaned forward. I'm offering you a 6-month marriage contract, May 15th to November 15th. You'll live in my home, attend necessary social functions as my wife, and maintain the appearance of a legitimate marriage. In exchange, I'll pay off your debts immediately, provide you a monthly stipend of $25,000, and at the end of 6 months you walk away with $2 million. Tax-free. Maria's vision blurred. $2 million. 6 months. Why me? Her voice came out barely above a whisper. Because you need this, Gregory said honestly. And people who need things are honest about what they're willing to do. You won't pretend this is love. Won't expect romance or... He gestured vaguely. Whatever people expect from marriage. This is a contract. Business. And when it's over, we both get what we need and move on. You could marry anyone. Someone your own age. Someone who... She stopped, hating herself for saying it. Someone who fits your world better. Something flickered across his face. I've tried. They all want something beyond the contract. A relationship. My connections. A story for their Instagram. I need someone who understands this is temporary and acts accordingly. He met her eyes. You're 40, established, not interested in building a career off my name. You just need to survive. That makes you perfect. The words should have felt insulting. Instead, they felt like relief. He was right. She didn't have the luxury of pride, of waiting for real love, of anything except survival. What are the terms? Maria asked. Gregory slid a folder across the table. Separate bedrooms. No physical intimacy required, though we'd need to appear affectionate in public. You'd attend important events, foundation galas, family functions. We'd spend enough time together to seem like a real couple. And you'd sign an NDA. After the divorce, you can't discuss the arrangement. Maria opened the folder. Legal document. Dense text. But the numbers were clear. $25,000 monthly. $2 million at the end. Salvation. Survival. 6 months of her life for a future. You'd pay off my debts immediately? She asked. The moment you sign. Your eviction notice, credit cards, everything. You'd move into my penthouse next week. And in 6 months? In 6 months we file for divorce. Cite irreconcilable differences. You get your money and your freedom. I get the foundation. He paused. And we both go back to our separate lives like this never happened. Maria looked at him, really looked. Past the expensive suit and perfect hair to the exhaustion in his eyes. The loneliness. He was as trapped as she was. Just in a prettier cage. Can I ask you something? She said. Of course. Why don't you just marry someone you actually love? Gregory's laugh was hollow. Because I don't believe in love, Miss Chun. I believe in contracts. In clear terms and fair exchange. Love is just, he shrugged. It's just people lying to each other until someone gets hurt. At least this way we're honest about what we want. That's sad, Maria said quietly. That's realistic. He stood, extended his hand. So, do we have a deal? Maria looked at his hand, looked at the contract, looked at her life. 40 years old, broke, invisible, about to lose everything, and made a choice. She stood, took his hand. We have a deal. His grip was warm, firm, and when their eyes met, something passed between them, recognition maybe, understanding. Two people making a bargain. Nothing more. So why did her heart race when he smiled? Welcome to the family, Mrs. Castellano, Gregory said, and Maria wondered what she'd just agreed to. The contract is signed. Maria has agreed to be a billionaire's temporary wife. It's just business, simple, transactional, safe. So why does the way he looked at her feel like the beginning of something neither of them planned for? Would you take this deal? 6 months of pretend marriage for financial freedom? Let us know in the comments what you'd do. Maria's entire life fit in 4 boxes. She stood in the marble foyer of Gregory's penthouse. All glass and steel and money. The kind of place she'd only seen in magazines, and felt like a fraud. Her second-hand furniture, her clearance rack clothes, her 40 years of modest living, all reduced to 4 cardboard boxes that looked pathetic against the imported Italian tile. Your room is down this hall. Gregory appeared from somewhere, still in his suit though it was 8 p.m. He'd been on his phone the entire time the movers brought up her boxes. Master suite is mine. You'll have the 2nd bedroom. Private bath. Walk-in closet. I've had it stocked with appropriate clothing for public appearances. Appropriate clothing? Maria followed him down a hall lined with abstract art. Patricia selected them. Your size, I believe. He opened a door to a bedroom twice the size of her old apartment. King bed. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. And yes, a closet full of designer clothes she'd never have chosen. Foundation gala is Saturday. You'll need something suitable. Maria stared at the dresses. Thousands of dollars of fabric. For a woman who'd been buying clearance items for 3 years. This is too much, she said quietly. It's necessary. You're my wife now. You need to look the part. His tone was businesslike. Cold. We'll have dinner together most evenings. Appearances matter. But otherwise you're free to do as you like. The building has a gym, pool, library. He paused. Just don't develop routines that suggest we're actually together. This is temporary. I know. Good. He moved toward the door. I have work. Help yourself to anything in the kitchen. We'll discuss the gala details tomorrow. He left before she could respond. Maria sat on the expensive bed in the expensive room and felt more alone than she had in her empty studio. At least there she'd belonged. Here she was just hired help, she thought bitterly. Expensive decoration for his arm. A 40-year-old woman playing dress-up in a younger man's world. Her phone buzzed. Her sister finally calling back. Maria, where have you been? I've been trying to reach you for 2 days. I got married, Maria said flatly. Silence. Then, you what? Married. To a CEO. It's a long story. Maria, are you having a breakdown? Because this sounds like... It's fine. I'm fine. I have to go. She hung up before her sister could ask questions she couldn't answer. She unpacked her boxes slowly. Her books looked cheap next to his design volumes. Her toiletries felt drugstore pathetic in the marble bathroom. Everything about her screamed doesn't belong, just like she'd felt for the past 3 years. Unemployable, undesirable, unnecessary. At least now she was being paid for it. Gregory stood in his home office and told himself this was fine. Maria was here, professional, appropriate. She understood this was business. She wasn't going to develop feelings or expectations or... He heard water running. She was showering. In his penthouse. In the guest room that suddenly didn't feel like a guest room because someone was actually living in it. Stop, he told himself. She's an employee. That's all. But when he'd opened the door to her boxes, seen how little she owned, something had twisted in his chest. When she'd looked at the closet of clothes with something like shame instead of excitement, he'd wanted to, what? Comfort her? Tell her she belonged here? She didn't belong here. This was temporary. 6 months and done. His phone rang. His mother. Gregory, darling, I heard you got married? To someone none of us have met. Here we go. Her name is Maria. We're keeping things private for now. How old is she? Does it matter? It matters if you married some gold digger half your age who's after the foundation money. Gregory almost laughed. She's 40, mother. 9 years older than me. And she's not after anything except... He stopped. What was Maria after? She's not a gold digger. His mother's silence was deafening. 40? Gregory, why would you marry someone so much older? What will people think? I don't care what people think. The foundation gala is Saturday. I assume you're bringing her. Of course. Well, his mother's tone was ice. I hope she's at least presentable. It would be embarrassing if your wife looked like someone's mother. Gregory hung up before he said something he'd regret. But the damage was done. His mother's words echoed. Looked like someone's mother. That's what people would think. What they'd say. Older woman. Younger man. She must have trapped him. He must be going through something. No one would believe this was real. Which was fine. Because it wasn't real. So why did the thought of people judging Maria make him want to fight? They had dinner that night at opposite ends of his dining table. Private chef had left food. They ate in silence. Maria barely touched her plate. You should eat, Gregory said. Chef made it specially. I'm not used to this. She gestured vaguely. Any of this. You'll adjust. Will I? She met his eyes. Or will I just be playing dress-up for 6 months before returning to reality? That's the agreement. Right? She set down her fork. The agreement. The contract. The transaction. She stood. Thank you for dinner. I think I'll go to bed. Maria. It's fine. This is fine. I knew what I was signing up for. But her voice cracked slightly. Good night, Gregory. She left him alone at the table. And Gregory sat in his empty penthouse that suddenly felt emptier than it ever had, and wondered why doing the right thing, keeping distance, maintaining boundaries, felt so completely wrong. They're living together but worlds apart. Maria feels like an imposter in his world. Gregory is keeping her at arm's length. Both are resisting the pull they feel. But Saturday's gala will force them into the public eye. and into each other's arms. Can they keep pretending this is just business? Have you ever felt like you didn't belong somewhere, even when you were supposed to? Share your experience below. Sometimes the places we feel most out of place become where we truly belong. Maria had never felt more exposed in her life. The gala dress Patricia had chosen was beautiful midnight blue silk that somehow made her look elegant instead of old. Professional makeup. Hair styled by someone who cost more per hour than Maria used to make in a day. She looked like she belonged. She felt like a fraud. Ready. Gregory appeared in her doorway, impossibly handsome in his tuxedo. His eyes swept over her, and something flickered across his face. You look... He stopped. You look perfect. I look expensive, Maria corrected. There's a difference. Maria, let's just get this over with. She picked up the clutch Patricia had provided. What do I need to know? Gregory's jaw tightened. Then, surprisingly, he stepped closer, took her hand. You need to know that you're beautiful, that anyone who judges you is insecure about their own inadequacy, and that... His thumb brushed her knuckles. That I'm proud to walk in there with you. You're paying me to be here. That doesn't make it less true. The car ride to the venue was silent. Maria watched the city pass, trying to calm her racing heart. This was just a performance, just playing a role. In 6 months, this would all be over. So why did his hand still holding hers feel so important? The ballroom was excessive. Crystal chandeliers, champagne towers, people dripping in wealth and judgment. Every head turned when they entered. Maria felt the stares, heard the whispers. That's his wife. How old is she? What was he thinking? Gregory's hand tightened on hers. Ignore them. Kind of hard when everyone's staring. Let them stare. He pulled her closer, his arm sliding around her waist. To anyone watching, it looked affectionate. Possessive, even. They're jealous. You're gorgeous, and you don't even realize it. Before Maria could respond, a woman descended on them. 60s, diamonds, cold smile. Gregory's mother. Gregory. And this must be your wife. The way she said wife made it sound like mistake. Maria, was it? Yes, Mrs. Castellano. It's lovely to meet you. Maria extended her hand. Gregory's mother took it limply. How unexpected. Gregory didn't mention you were so much more mature than his usual type. Mother. Gregory's voice was a warning. I just mean she's very established. Worldly. Not like those silly young things you used to date. The smile sharpened. Though I do wonder what you two could possibly have in common. The age difference alone. We have everything in common, Gregory interrupted, his arm tightening around Maria's waist. She's intelligent, accomplished, everything I was looking for. And frankly, Mother, after dating women my age who treated relationships like Instagram opportunities, finding someone who actually knows who she is, that's not a compromise. That's winning the lottery. His mother's expression frosted over. I see. Well, I hope she's worth the gossip, darling. She swept away. Maria's chest was tight. I'm sorry. For what? For being the older woman. For making people judge you. For... Gregory turned her to face him. Right there in the middle of the ballroom, with everyone watching, he cupped her face. Don't apologize for existing, he said fiercely. Don't apologize for being who you are. My mother's a snob. Half these people are shallow and boring. And you... His thumb brushed her cheek. You're the only real person in this room. Gregory, dance with me. I don't. Dance with me, please. He led her to the floor. The orchestra played something slow and romantic. His hand settled at the small of her back, warm through the silk. Her hand rested on his shoulder. They moved together, and Maria forgot about the whispers, about the stares, about their 9-year age gap and the contract that said this was temporary. All she felt was him, his strength, his warmth, the way he looked at her like she was the only person in the room who mattered. Thank you, she whispered, for defending me. Always. The word was fierce. Promise. Anyone who tries to make you feel less than extraordinary will have to go through me. This is just for show. You don't have to. What if it's not? The words came out rough, unplanned. Gregory looked as surprised as she felt. What if it stopped being just for show? Maria's breath caught. Gregory, we have a contract. An arrangement. You said no feelings. No complications. I know what I said. His hand tightened at her waist. I'm asking, what if I was wrong? You're 9 years younger than me. So? You're a billionaire CEO. I'm an unemployed 40-year-old divorcee. You're brilliant. You're honest. He pulled her closer. You're making me question everything I thought I knew about what I wanted. The song ended. They stood frozen on the dance floor, the space between them charged with something dangerous. Something that felt a lot like possibility. I need air, Maria said, pulling away. Excuse me. She fled to the balcony. Let the cool night air calm her racing heart. This wasn't supposed to happen. She was here for money. Survival. Not whatever that was. Not falling for a man 9 years younger who could have anyone he wanted. Maria. Gregory appeared beside her. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said. Meant it? She turned to face him. Did you mean it? He was quiet for a long moment. Then, yes. God help me, yes. This is a mistake. Probably. In 6 months. I know. He stepped closer. I know the contract. I know the plan. I know this is supposed to be temporary. But Maria, his hand found hers. What if we let it be real? Just for these 6 months? What if we stopped pretending we don't feel this? And then what? In November we just turn it off? Go back to being strangers? I don't know. His honesty was painful. I don't have answers. I just know that tonight, defending you to my mother, holding you on that dance floor. His voice roughed. It didn't feel like acting. It felt like the most honest thing I've done in years. Maria looked at their joined hands, at the city lights below, at the impossible choice in front of her. She could keep this safe, transactional, walk away in 6 months with her money and her heart intact, or she could risk everything, let this be real, and face the inevitable heartbreak when their contract expired. I'm scared, she whispered. Me too. I'm too old for you. You're perfect for me. This is insane. Completely insane. He smiled. But what if we're insane together? Just for 6 months. Maria looked at him, really looked. Saw past the age difference and the contract to the man underneath. Lonely. Searching. Brave enough to admit he wanted something real. Okay, she breathed. Just for 6 months. Gregory's smile was brilliant. Devastating. He pulled her close and kissed her forehead. And Maria let herself believe, just for a moment, that maybe miracles were real after all. They've agreed to make it real, but only until November. Can feelings have an expiration date? Can they fall in love knowing there's a deadline? The next few months will test everything they believe about age, worth, and whether temporary can become forever. Would you risk your heart for something with an expiration date? Sometimes the best things in life come with uncertainty. Share your thoughts below. 3 weeks into their arrangement, Maria woke to find Gregory making breakfast. Not chef-prepared breakfast. Actual cooking. Eggs slightly burnt. Toast unevenly toasted. Coffee that smelled like he'd used too many grounds. What are you doing? She stood in the kitchen doorway, still in pajamas. His old Columbia t-shirt she'd borrowed and he told her to keep. Making breakfast. He looked up, sheepish. Or trying to. I'm not very good at this. I can see that. But she was smiling. Move over. Let me help. They cooked together in the morning light. Hip to hip at the stove. Him following her instructions. Making jokes about his incompetence. Her laughing, actually laughing. For the first time in months. Why don't you know how to cook? She asked, rescuing the eggs. Didn't your family? Private chefs since I was 10. He leaned against the counter watching her work. Boarding school. Then college. Then success. I've never actually needed to feed myself. That's sad. That's privilege. He said it without pride. I have everything money can buy and no idea how to make scrambled eggs. Pretty pathetic for a 31-year-old. Maria plated the eggs, poured coffee. They sat at the island instead of the formal dining table, closer, more intimate. Tell me about your ex-husband, Gregory said quietly. Maria's fork stilled. Why? Because you flinch whenever anyone mentions age. Because you looked terrified at the gala when people stared. Because, he reached across, took her hand. Because I want to know who hurt you. She was quiet for a long time. Then, his name was David. We married when I was 31. He was 33. We were. She laughed bitterly. We were happy, I thought. Built a life together. Talked about kids. And then I hit 38 and he started working late. Started going to the gym obsessively. Her voice cracked. Started sleeping with his 26-year-old assistant. Gregory's hand tightened on hers. I found out on my 39th birthday. He came home with flowers and divorce papers. Said he still cared about me, but... She forced the words out. But I was getting older. And she was young. Exciting. Fun. He said I'd become boring. Predictable. That looking at me reminded him of his own aging. Tears burned her eyes. He made me feel like I had an expiration date. Like I'd gone past my prime and become worthless. Maria. The worst part? I believed him. She wiped her eyes angrily. I internalized it. Started seeing every wrinkle as proof I was undesirable. Every gray hair as evidence I was past my peak. When I lost my job and they hired someone younger, it just confirmed what David had told me. I was obsolete. Gregory stood, moved around the island, pulled her into his arms. He was an idiot, he said fiercely. A shallow, insecure idiot who couldn't handle the fact that you were becoming more interesting, more complex, more yourself while he stayed stagnant. He tilted her face up. You're not expired, Maria. You're not past anything. He searched for words. You're wine, not milk. You get better with time. And anyone who can't see that doesn't deserve you. I'm 40. You're 31. People look at us and think. I don't care what people think. He brushed her tears away. I care what I think. And I think you're the most captivating woman I've ever met. Your intelligence. Your strength. The way you've survived and kept your kindness. That's not expired. That's extraordinary. Maria buried her face in his chest. Let herself be held. Let herself believe just for a moment that maybe David had been wrong. Your turn, she said eventually. Tell me who hurt you. Gregory sighed, led her to the couch. They sat close, his arm around her. Her name was Vanessa. I was 28. She was 27. I thought, he stopped. I thought she was different. She was an art gallery owner, successful on her own. Didn't seem interested in my money. But she was. She was very interested in my money, and my connections, and my ability to get her gallery featured in major publications. His voice was flat. I proposed after a year. She said yes. We planned this massive wedding. And then, he laughed bitterly. Then I overheard her on the phone with her real boyfriend, the one she'd been dating the whole time, laughing about how I was easy to manipulate, because I was so desperate to be loved for something other than my bank account. Maria's hand found his. She said I was emotionally unavailable and incapable of real connection. Said the only thing interesting about me was my money. That I was boring. Workaholic. That dating me was enduring the dull parts for access to the good parts. He met Maria's eyes. After that I stopped trying. Dated casually. Never let anyone close. Figured if all women saw was my wealth, why pretend otherwise? Until the foundation requirement forced your hand. Until the foundation requirement. He tucked her hair behind her ear. I thought I'd marry someone who needed money. Make it transactional, keep it simple. No risk of being used because we'd both know exactly what we were trading. But then I met you. His thumb brushed her cheek. And you didn't care about my money. Didn't want to network. Didn't take photos for social media. You just existed. Honest. Real. And I realized, his voice roughened. I realized I'd been looking for the wrong things. Youth isn't interesting. Vanessa was 27 and vapid. But you, he smiled. You're 40 and fascinating. Every conversation reveals something new. Every day I discover another layer. You've lived, survived, grown. And what? That's everything I didn't know I wanted. They sat in the morning light, two broken people who'd found each other through desperation, discovering that sometimes the wounds that should separate us are exactly what bind us together. We're both disasters, Maria said softly. Complete disasters. But maybe, she looked up at him, maybe disasters understand each other. Maybe they do. He kissed her forehead. Maybe they're exactly what each other needs. And in that moment, the contract that brought them together felt less like a business arrangement and more like fate. They've shared their deepest wounds and found understanding. But understanding isn't enough when November still looms. Can knowing each other's pain keep them together when the contract says they have to part? Have you ever bonded with someone over shared pain? Sometimes our scars are what help us recognize each other. Tell us about a connection that surprised you. July arrived with heat and happiness Maria hadn't expected. They'd fallen into rhythms that felt dangerously domestic. Gregory working from home more often, his office door open so they could talk throughout the day. Maria taking online courses in digital marketing, rebuilding skills while Gregory encouraged her from across the room. Dinners they cooked together, his skills improving, her patience endless. Late nights on the balcony with wine and conversation that stretched until dawn. Tell me something nobody knows about you, Gregory said one night, stars above the city, his hand tangled with hers. I wanted to be a dancer, Maria admitted. Studied ballet until I was 19. But I wasn't good enough for professional and my parents said it wasn't practical, so... She shrugged. Marketing degree, practical career, practical life. Do you still dance? Not in 20 years. Dance with me now. Gregory, there's no music. But he was already standing, pulling her up, one hand at her waist, the other holding hers. He hummed something off-key, the song from the gala, and they swayed on the balcony under stars and city lights. Maria closed her eyes, let herself feel this, his warmth, his steadiness, the way he held her like she was precious instead of expired. I'm falling in love with you, he whispered against her hair. I know I'm not supposed to. I know the contract says November and done. But Maria, I'm falling and I can't stop. Her heart cracked open. Gregory, you don't have to say it back. I just needed you to know. Needed to. He pulled back to look at her. Needed to be honest. For once in my life, completely honest. Maria cupped his face. Saw past the billion-dollar CEO to the lonely boy who'd learned to equate love with transaction. Saw the man who'd chosen her, not despite her age, but because of everything those years had taught her. I'm falling too, she whispered. And it terrifies me. Because of November? Because I'm 40. Because you could have anyone. Because this feels too good to be real and I keep waiting for... Her voice broke. For you to wake up and realize you made a mistake. Maria. He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, the corner of her mouth. You're not a mistake. You're the first right thing I've done in years. What happens in November? I don't know. Honest. Painful. I don't know. But I know I don't want to waste the time we have worrying about the time we don't. That night, Maria made a choice. She took his hand, led him inside, to his bedroom that she'd never entered because maintaining separate spaces had been part of keeping this safe, keeping this controlled. Are you sure? Gregory asked, standing at the threshold. I'm terrified, she said honestly. Terrified you'll see me. Really see me without clothes, without makeup, without the illusion. And regret this. Regret me. That's not possible. I have stretch marks. Gray hair. 40 years of living on this body. He silenced her with a kiss. Deep, reverent. Then pulled back just enough to say, I see you. All of you. And Maria, you're beautiful. Not despite those marks but because of them. Because they're proof you've lived. Survived. Existed fully in this world. His hands framed her face. And I want all of it. Every year. Every mark. Every proof that you're real. They made love slowly. Tenderly. Gregory treating her like she was precious. Like every touch mattered. Like age was irrelevant and only them was real. After, wrapped in sheets and each other, Maria felt tears slide down her face. Regrets? Gregory asked quietly, wiping them away. No. She laughed through the tears. The opposite. I forgot. Her voice caught. I forgot what it felt like to be wanted. Not needed. Not useful. Just wanted. For me. I want you. He pulled her closer. So much it scares me. So much I'm forgetting this is temporary. What if it doesn't have to be? The words hung in the darkness. What are you saying? Gregory asked carefully. I'm saying, Maria took a breath. I'm saying, what if we don't divorce in November? What if we try this? Really try? Not for the foundation or the money, but because. She met his eyes. Because I love you. Because you make me feel alive again. Because the age difference doesn't matter when we're together. Maria. I know it's crazy. I know people will judge. I know your mother will hate it. But Gregory. She pressed her palm to his chest, felt his racing heart. Life is short. My ex taught me that. Your ex taught you that. We've both wasted years on people who didn't deserve us. What if we stopped wasting time? Gregory was quiet for so long she thought she'd made a mistake. Gone too far. Scared him away. Then, yes. 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 He kissed her, deep and certain. Yes to trying. Yes to real. Yes to, his voice roughed. Yes to forever if you'll have me. Age gap and judgment and my terrible mother and all of it. I want you. I want this. I want us. Maria laughed and cried and kissed him and felt like maybe happy endings were real after all. The next weeks were bliss. Gregory introduced her to his team properly. Not as contract wife but as partner. The woman he loved. They worked together on foundation projects, her marketing expertise revitalizing campaigns, his technology building platforms. They were good together. Complementary. You make me better, he told her one morning over coffee and burnt toast he'd attempted alone. You make me brave, she replied. They talked about the future. Real future. Gregory cutting back on travel. Maria potentially freelancing, building her own consultancy. A life built together, not despite their differences but because of them. What about kids? Maria asked one night. Gregory looked up from his laptop. What about them? I'm 40. If this is real, I might not be able to. She stopped, the old shame rising. Hey! He crossed to her, knelt beside her chair. If we want kids, we'll figure it out. Adoption. Surrogacy. Whatever feels right. But Maria, he took her hands. I didn't fall in love with you for your fertility. I fell in love with you for you. Kids or no kids, I want you. That's enough. She pulled him close, buried her face in his neck. How did I get so lucky? She whispered. I crashed my car in a storm and made a desperate proposition to a stranger, he said. And she said yes. I'm the lucky one. August passed in a haze of happiness. September arrived, and with it, Gregory's birthday. September 1st. The day the foundation clause ended. The day their contract was officially fulfilled. So, Maria said over birthday breakfast she'd made perfectly. We made it. Contract complete. Foundation secured. We did. Gregory smiled. What now? Now? She slid a folder across the table. Now I have something for you. He opened it. Stared. Divorce papers. Already filled out. Her signature at the bottom. His face went pale. Maria, what? Keep reading. He did. Found the note paper clipped to the back. Gregory, the contract is complete. You have your foundation. I have my freedom. Everything we agreed to. But I don't want it. I'm giving you a choice. Sign these papers and we part as friends. No hard feelings. No complications. We both walk away with what we came for. Or, tear them up. And marry me again. For real this time. No contract. No timeline. No expiration date. Just us. Choosing each other. Every day. Forever. I love you. Not your money. Not your status. You. The man who burns toast and codes brilliant programs and looks at me like I'm 25. The man who made me remember I'm allowed to be happy. Your move, Mr. Castellano. Love, Maria. Gregory read it 3 times. Then, very deliberately, he tore the divorce papers in half. I choose you, he said, voice rough. Forever. No contracts. No clauses. Just us. Maria smiled through tears. Just us. He pulled her into his lap, kissed her like she was oxygen. Will you marry me? He asked. Again? In a church this time? With people who matter? With vows we actually mean? Yes. She laughed. Yes, yes, yes. And September 1st, the day that was supposed to end them, became the day they truly began. They've chosen forever. But choosing is one thing, living it is another. Gregory's mother is about to make her move. Society's judgment is about to intensify. And Maria's ex-husband is about to reappear with regret and demands. Their happiness is about to be tested. Can love survive when the world says it shouldn't? When did you know someone was your forever person? That moment when everything just clicked? Share your story. We love hearing about real love. Maria was shopping for wedding invitations when her past walked through the door. Maria? Wow. I almost didn't recognize you. She turned. Froze. David. Her ex-husband. Looking older than she remembered. Graying temples. Lines around his eyes. The arrogance slightly dimmed but still there. What are you doing here? Her voice came out colder than intended. I heard you got married. To Gregory Castellano. He moved closer and she fought the urge to step back. Pretty impressive upgrade. Billionaire CEO. Though I have to say, I was surprised when I saw his age. 31? Really, Maria? That's none of your business. Isn't it? I mean, we were married for 8 years. I know you. And this, he gestured vaguely. This doesn't seem like you. Marrying someone almost a decade younger? Someone so far out of your league? Feels desperate. I need you to leave. I'm not trying to hurt you. His voice softened, became the one he'd used when he was manipulating her. I'm trying to help. Because I've been there, remember? The younger woman? And let me tell you something I learned. He stepped closer. It doesn't last. The novelty wears off. Eventually, he's going to look at you and see the age difference. See the wrinkles. See how you can't keep up with his energy. And he's going to want someone younger. Someone who... Stop. I'm just being honest. You think you're special? That you're the exception? Maria, men like Gregory Castellano don't end up with women like you. They have fun. They enjoy the mature woman experience. And then they move on to someone age-appropriate. Each word was a knife, striking exactly where she was weakest. I made a mistake, David continued. Leaving you. I realize that now. Chelsea and I split up. Turns out youth isn't everything. I miss you. Miss what we had. And I'm watching you set yourself up for heartbreak so much worse than what I caused. Because I left you. But eventually, Maria, he's going to leave you. And you'll be 50 by then. Who's going to want you at 50? Get out. Her voice shook. I'm trying to save you. Get out. He left. But the poison stayed. Maria stood in the stationery store, surrounded by wedding invitations for a marriage she suddenly couldn't imagine lasting, and felt everything she'd built with Gregory start to crumble. Gregory knew something was wrong the moment he got home. Maria was in the guest bedroom, the one she hadn't slept in for 2 months, packing. What are you doing? His heart stopped. I think we need space. She didn't look at him. I think this moved too fast. We got caught up in. Maria, what happened? Nothing happened. She finally turned, and her eyes were devastated. I'm 40, Gregory. You're 31. Eventually, you're going to wake up and realize you made a mistake. Realize you could have anyone. Someone younger. Someone who fits your world better. We've talked about this. Talking doesn't change reality. The words burst out. I'm going to get older. Grayer. You're going to stay young and successful and surrounded by beautiful 20-somethings and—" Her voice cracked. "And I can't watch you fall out of love with me. Can't survive you leaving me the way David did. So I'm leaving first." "Maria, no." Gregory crossed to her, but she stepped back. "Don't. Please don't make this harder." "Who got to you?" His mind raced. Someone said something. "Who?" "It doesn't matter." "It was David, wasn't it?" Her expression confirmed it. "What did he say?" "The truth." Tears streamed down her face. "That I'm deluding myself. That men like you don't stay with women like me. That I'm setting myself up for worse heartbreak than—" "And you believe him?" Gregory's voice went cold. "You believe your ex-husband, the man who destroyed your self-worth and left you for a younger woman, over me? It's not about belief. It's about reality." "Reality?" He laughed bitterly. "Reality is I love you. Reality is I chose you. Reality is I tore up divorce papers and proposed again because I want forever with you. But you," his jaw tightened, "you're so convinced you're not enough that you'll sabotage the best thing either of us has found. I'm trying to protect us both." "You're trying to protect yourself." The words came out harsh. "You're so terrified of being hurt that you're hurting me first. Just like I was about to do to you months ago. But I chose courage over fear. I chose trust over suspicion. And you," he gestured at her suitcase, "you're choosing to run. Because I have to." Her voice broke completely. "Because when you leave, not if, when, I won't survive it. David almost destroyed me. You would finish the job. So yes, I'm running. Because at least this way I get to keep some piece of myself intact." Gregory stared at her. At the woman he loved, pushing him away to protect herself from hypothetical pain. "You're right," he said flatly. "About one thing. This was a mistake." Maria's face crumpled. "Not loving you. That was real. That was—" his voice cracked. "That was everything. But thinking I could convince you that you're worthy of being loved? That was the mistake. Because you don't believe it. You think you're a temporary stop for me. An age gap experiment. Something I'll outgrow." He moved to the door. "So go. Leave. Protect yourself." "But Maria—" He looked back. "When you're alone in whatever new apartment you find, remember this. I chose you. Every day. Every moment. And you chose fear." He walked out, left her standing in the guest room, suitcase half-packed, heart completely shattered. And Maria sank to the floor and sobbed, because he was right. She'd chosen fear, and fear had cost her everything. 2 days later, Gregory's mother struck. "I'm challenging the foundation inheritance," she announced at the emergency board meeting. The marriage was clearly fraudulent, arranged for the sole purpose of meeting the trust requirements. "I have evidence." Gregory's blood turned to ice. "What evidence?" "The original contract, darling. The one Patricia helped draft. 6 months. $2 million. Very clearly a business arrangement, not a real marriage." Her smile was poisonous. "The trust requires a legitimate marriage. This was a transaction. Therefore, you violated the terms. The foundation gets dissolved. The money goes to the board's selected charities. That contract is void. We remarried. After the deadline. The trust clause requires marriage by September 1st. You barely made that deadline with a fraudulent arrangement. The remarriage doesn't count." She leaned forward. "You should have married someone appropriate, Gregory. Someone from our world. Not some desperate older woman looking for a payday." Gregory stood. "You talk about Maria again. I'll—" "What? Defend your contractual wife?" "Too late, darling. I've already filed the paperwork. Legal proceedings start next week." She gathered her things. "You should have listened to me. Now you'll lose everything. The foundation, the money, and the woman who was clearly using you." She left him there. Empire crumbling. Maria gone. Everything falling apart. Maria saw the news on her new apartment's TV. Castellano Foundation inheritance challenged. Marriage fraud alleged. Her phone exploded with messages. Media requests. Judgment from strangers. And one text from Patricia. Gregory's mother is destroying him. The board believes her. He's going to lose everything, including the foundation his grandfather built. All because of that contract. All because of you. Maria dropped the phone. She'd left to protect them both. Instead, she'd destroyed them both. David's words echoed. Eventually, he's going to leave you. But she'd left first. And in doing so, she'd proven everyone right. She wasn't strong enough, brave enough, worthy enough for a love like Gregory's. She'd been given a miracle and she'd thrown it away. And now it was too late to fix it. Maria has destroyed the one real thing she's ever had. Gregory is losing his foundation because of their original contract. Both are broken, alone, drowning in regret. Maria must decide. Keep hiding to protect herself, or fight for the man who chose her when no one else would. Sometimes the only way to prove love is real is to risk everything, including your heart. Have you ever sabotaged something good because you were scared? How did you find the courage to fix it? Or did you? Share your story. Sometimes we need to hear we're not alone in our fear. Maria spent 3 days in her new apartment doing nothing. No job applications. No unpacking. Just sitting on her bare mattress staring at walls and replaying every moment with Gregory. Every laugh. Every touch. Every time he'd looked at her like she was extraordinary instead of expired. Every moment she'd thrown away because she was too scared to believe it was real. Her phone rang constantly. She ignored it. Until finally, Patricia called from a blocked number. "Stop hiding," Patricia said without preamble. "The board hearing is tomorrow. Gregory's going to lose everything because you ran away." "I know. I saw the news." "Then you know his mother is winning. She's convinced the board the marriage was fraud. That you were paid to play wife. That Gregory violated the trust requirements." Patricia's voice hardened. "She's right about the contract. But she's wrong about the love. Problem is, the only person who can prove that is you. And you're hiding in whatever hole you've crawled into. What can I do? The contract exists. The evidence. The evidence shows a transaction that became real. But you're the only one who can testify to that transformation. You're the only one who can tell the board that what started as business became the most genuine thing either of you has experienced." Patricia paused. "Unless you don't believe that. Unless David was right and you really were just... Don't." Maria's voice cracked. "Don't say it. Then prove it. Show up tomorrow. Tell the truth. Fight for him the way he fought for you." Patricia's voice softened. "Maria, I've worked for Gregory for 6 years. I've never seen him happy. Not once. Until you made him human again. Made him believe love was possible. And then you left because you couldn't believe you were worth loving. I was protecting him. You were protecting yourself. And now he's losing his grandfather's legacy because you couldn't be brave." Silence. Then, "The hearing is tomorrow at 10 a.m. Castellano Foundation offices. If you love him, really love him, you'll be there." She hung up. Maria sat in silence, Patricia's words echoing. Then she looked at herself in the mirror. Really looked. 40 years old. Gray hair showing at the roots because she couldn't afford the salon. Lines around her eyes. Body that had lived and aged and survived. And underneath all of it, a woman who'd been given a second chance and run away because she didn't think she deserved it. "Your wine, not milk," Gregory had said. "You get better with time." "I choose you," he'd said. "Forever." And she'd chosen fear. Maria picked up her phone. Started making calls. Tomorrow she'd make a different choice. Gregory sat alone in his office the night before the hearing. Everything his grandfather had built gone. Because he'd been stupid enough to marry someone he didn't love first, and brave enough to love someone he married for business second. The irony wasn't lost on him. His phone buzzed. His lawyer. "I have to be honest, Gregory. Without Maria's testimony, we don't have a case. The contract proves your mother's claim. We need Maria to explain how the relationship evolved. How it became real. She's not coming. Then you should prepare to lose." Gregory hung up. Stared at the city lights. He told Maria she'd chosen fear. But hadn't he done the same? Hadn't he married her initially because it was safer than risking real love? Hadn't he kept her at arm's length for weeks because vulnerability terrified him? They'd both been cowards. And now they were both paying the price. His office door opened. Patricia. Go home, boss. Get some rest. I'm not going to sleep. Then sit here and feel sorry for yourself. That's productive. She set coffee on his desk. Or you could fight. For what? The foundation's lost. Maria's gone. I don't. His voice cracked. I don't know what I'm fighting for anymore. You're fighting for the truth. That what you and Maria had was real. That love doesn't follow rules or timelines or board requirements. Patricia sat across from him. Your grandfather's clause was stupid. Requiring marriage by 32 like that ensures happiness? It's archaic. But you know what? You did find love. Not the way he intended. Not with someone the board approves of. But real love. Transformative love. And I lost it. Because Maria's scared. Not because she doesn't love you. Patricia leaned forward. Gregory, I watched you too. The way she looked at you. The way you softened around her. That wasn't acting. That was, she smiled. That was what your grandfather wanted. Family. Legacy. Love that mattered. She left. Because her ex-husband poisoned her with doubt. Because society tells 40-year-old women they're invisible. Because she's been hurt so many times she forgot how to trust good things. Patricia stood. But tomorrow you can remind her. Stand up in that hearing and tell the truth. That you love her. That age is irrelevant. That she's everything. Everything. Patricia smiled. And maybe if she's listening, maybe she'll remember she's brave enough to fight back. The hearing room was packed. Board members, lawyers, media. Gregory's mother, looking triumphant. Gregory, looking devastated. And at exactly 10:03 a.m., Maria walked in. The room went silent. She looked different. Hair pulled back simply. Minimal makeup. Wearing jeans and a blazer, not designer clothes. Looking like herself instead of trying to look like she belonged. Gregory's eyes met hers across the room. And Maria saw everything. Hope. Fear. Love. Desperation. She walked to the front. Approached the microphone. I'm Maria Chen, she said, voice shaking but clear. I was Gregory Castellano's wife. And I need to tell you all something. The board chair cleared his throat. Ms. Chen, this is highly irregular. I don't care. She looked directly at Gregory. I need to say this. Even if it's too late. Even if... She took a breath. I need to tell the truth. Maria, Gregory started. Let me finish. Please. She turned to the board. 6 months ago I was broke. Facing eviction. 40 years old and convinced my life was over. And Gregory offered me a contract. Marriage for money. Business. Transaction. And I said yes because I was desperate. Gregory's mother smiled. See? Fraud. Exactly as I. But it wasn't fraud, Maria interrupted. Because somewhere between May and October, between contract and connection, we fell in love. Real love. The kind that terrifies you because it's too good to be real. And her voice cracked. I ran away. Because I'm 40 and he's 31 and society says that doesn't work. My ex-husband says that doesn't work. His mother says that doesn't work. And I believed them. I believed I wasn't enough. Too old. Too ordinary. Too broken. She wiped her eyes. But I was wrong. Because Gregory saw me. Really saw me. Not my age. Not my bank account. Me. And he chose me. Every day. Every moment. And I was too scared to believe I deserved that kind of love. So I destroyed it. She looked at Gregory. I destroyed us. And now he's losing everything because I couldn't be brave. Maria, you don't have to. Gregory's voice was rough. Yes, I do. She turned back to the board. You want to know if the marriage was real? It was the most real thing I've ever experienced. You want to know if we married for love? Eventually, yes. Not at first. But love isn't always love at first sight. Sometimes it's love at second chance. Love at unexpected. Love at, this shouldn't work but it does. She took a breath. I'm 40 years old. I'm not glamorous or connected or appropriate for a man like Gregory Castellano. But I love him. Completely. Imperfectly. Really. And if this board thinks that love is less legitimate because it started with a contract, then you don't understand what love is. The room was silent. Then Gregory stood, walked to her, took her hand. You came, he whispered. I chose courage, she whispered back. I'm choosing you. He pulled her close, kissed her in front of the board, the media, his mother, everyone. I love you, he said against her lips. Foundation or no foundation, money or no money. I love you. I love you too. She smiled through tears. I'm sorry I ran. I'm sorry I didn't believe. You're here now. That's all that matters. The board chair cleared his throat. This is very moving. But it doesn't change the fact that the initial marriage was contractual. Actually, Patricia stood holding papers. It does, because I've researched the trust language thoroughly, and nowhere does it specify the marriage must begin from love. It simply requires legitimate marriage by September 1st, which occurred. The fact that love developed afterward doesn't invalidate the marriage. It validates it. The spirit of the clause was ensuring Gregory built a family. He has, just not in the expected way. Gregory's mother stood. This is ridiculous. No, mother. What's ridiculous is your attempt to destroy something beautiful because it doesn't fit your narrow definition of appropriate. Gregory's voice was steel. Maria is my wife. I love her. And if this board can't accept that, then dissolve the foundation. I don't need it. I just need her. Maria's hand tightened in his. The board members whispered among themselves. Long minutes stretched. Finally, the chair spoke. We'll take this under advisement. Reconvene in 1 week with our decision. It wasn't over, but it wasn't lost. And Maria and Gregory walked out of that hearing room hand in hand, facing an uncertain future together. Maria chose courage. Gregory chose love. But the board's decision still hangs in the balance. Will they lose the foundation? Can their love survive public scrutiny and family rejection? 1 week until they know if choosing each other cost them everything, or gave them everything that matters. What's the bravest thing you've ever done for love? Standing up in that room took everything Maria had. Have you ever had to publicly fight for someone you loved? Tell us your story. The call came exactly 1 week later. Maria and Gregory sat on his penthouse balcony. Their balcony now, she'd moved back in the day after the hearing, holding hands and watching the sunrise. Neither had slept. Both knew today would change everything. Gregory's phone rang. It's the board chair, he said quietly. Answer it. Maria squeezed his hand. Whatever they decide will be okay. He answered, listened. His expression was unreadable. Then he hung up and turned to her, eyes bright. We won. What? The board voted 6-3 in our favor. The marriage is recognized as legitimate. The foundation stands. He pulled her into his arms. We won, Maria. She should have felt relief, victory, but instead she felt, I don't care, she said, surprising herself. Gregory pulled back. What? I mean, I'm glad. For you. For your grandfather's legacy. But Gregory, she cupped his face. If they'd voted against us, I'd still be here, still choosing you, still choosing us. The foundation doesn't matter. The money doesn't matter. Only this matters. His smile was devastating. You really mean that? I really mean that. She kissed him softly. I came back for you. Not for the money. Not for the penthouse. For you. Just you. God. I love you. He buried his face in her neck. So much it terrifies me. Good. She laughed. That means it's real. 2 months later they married again. Not at City Hall with contracts and calculations. In a garden with flowers and friends and vows they wrote themselves. Maria wore ivory. Not white, because she'd been married before and why pretend otherwise? Gregory wore a suit that made him look impossibly handsome and impossibly young. And when his mother whispered to her neighbor about that woman old enough to be dating his older brother, Maria smiled and didn't care, because Gregory was looking at her like she was the only woman in the world. I, Gregory, take you, Maria, he said, voice carrying over the small gathering. 9 years my senior, infinitely wiser. The woman who taught me that love isn't about matching ages or meeting society's expectations. It's about seeing someone, really seeing them, and choosing them anyway. I choose you, today, tomorrow, forever, in your 40s and 50s and beyond. I choose every year, every wrinkle, every proof that you've lived and survived and become this extraordinary woman I'm somehow lucky enough to marry. Again, Maria's tears fell freely. I, Maria, take you, Gregory, she said. 9 years younger, impossibly patient with my insecurities. The man who taught me that being 40 isn't expired, it's just beginning. That the best years aren't behind me. They're right here, with you. You saw me when I'd become invisible. Chose me when I'd accepted no one would. Loved me when I'd forgotten how to love myself. I choose you. Your youth. Your energy. Your beautiful refusal to let age define what we can be together. I choose us. Imperfect. Unconventional. Real. When they kissed, the small crowd erupted in applause. Patricia was crying. Gregory's brother, the one family member who'd supported them, was beaming. Even a few board members who'd voted for them attended, witnessing this second chance at forever. Only Gregory's mother was absent. Her loss. The reception was small, intimate, perfect. So, Patricia said, approaching them with champagne. What's next for the power couple? Maria's starting her consultancy, Gregory said proudly. 3 clients already lined up. Turns out being a 40-year-old woman with actual life experience makes you valuable. Who knew? Who knew? Maria echoed, squeezing his hand. She'd been terrified to re-enter the workforce. But Gregory had encouraged her, connected her with contacts, believed in her when she couldn't believe in herself. And slowly, she'd rebuilt. Not the career she'd lost, but something better, something hers. And Gregory's cutting back on travel, Maria added, promoting from within, building a team he trusts instead of controlling everything. Maria's teaching me work-life balance, Gregory admitted. Turns out there's more to life than quarterly earnings. Who are you and what did you do with my workaholic boss? Patricia teased. He fell in love with a 40-year-old woman who taught him how to live, Gregory said simply, looking at Maria. Best decision I ever made. That night, alone in their penthouse, they slow danced in the living room. No music, just them. Like that night on the balcony when he'd first said he was falling for her. Happy? Gregory asked. Terrified, Maria admitted. I keep waiting for something to go wrong. For you to wake up and realize. Stop. He tilted her face up. I'm going to wake up next to you for the next 50 years. And every morning I'm going to thank whatever force crashed my life into yours. Every single morning. 50 years? I'll be 90. And I'll be 81. Still younger. Still madly in love with you. He smiled. Age is just numbers, Maria. What we have, that's infinity. She kissed him. Deep, grateful, real. Thank you, she whispered. For what? For seeing me. For choosing me. For teaching me that 40 isn't over. It's just beginning. Thank you for taking a chance on a 31-year-old with commitment issues and a dysfunctional family. He grinned. And for making the best terrible coffee I've ever had. She laughed. My coffee's not terrible anymore. It's still pretty terrible. Shut up and dance with me. So they danced. In their home. In their life. In the beautiful, imperfect reality they'd built together. 5 years later, Maria turned 45. Gregory threw her a party. Not ostentatious, just friends and family gathered on their now expanded balcony. Her consultancy was thriving. His foundation was funding revolutionary programs. They'd bought a house in the mountains for weekends away. And Maria had never been happier. Speech, someone called. Maria stood, looking around at faces she loved. At the life she'd built. At Gregory, who watched her with the same adoration he'd had 6 years ago. 5 years ago I thought 40 was the end, she said. Thought my best years were behind me. thought no one would want a woman past her prime. She met Gregory's eyes. I was so wrong. These have been the best years of my life. Not despite my age, because of everything those years taught me. About resilience. About knowing myself. About being brave enough to take a risk on love even when society says it shouldn't work. She raised her glass. To second chances. To age gap love. To men who choose maturity over superficiality. To women who remember they're just getting started. She smiled. To choosing each other. Every day. Every year. Forever. To forever, Gregory echoed, crossing to her, pulling her close. They kissed as their friends cheered. And Maria, 45, loved, seen, extraordinary, knew she'd kept her promise to herself. She was living, not surviving, not hiding, not accepting scraps, living fully, boldly, beautifully, with a man 9 years younger who loved her more with each year that passed. Society said it shouldn't work. They'd proven society wrong, and they'd keep proving it wrong for the next 50 years. Together, always together. Thank you for experiencing Maria and Gregory's journey with us here at Philia Heart. Their story reminds us that love doesn't follow rules. That age is just a number when connection is real. That second chances exist, we just have to be brave enough to take them. Are you in an age gap relationship? Have you ever been told you're too old for something? Love? Career? Dreams? Share your story in the comments. Your courage might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Thank you so much for watching my story all the way to the end. Your support means everything. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts.